Subway used to rule the world of fast food. Titans like Burger King, Wendy's, and Taco Bell lived in its shadow. Not even the mighty McDonald's could compete with the sandwich shop's might. Today, Subway is a shell of its former self. Its empire is crumbling, and the glory its founder fought so hard to win is circling down the drain. How did a 17-year-old turn a dine sandwich shop into one of the most powerful brands on the planet? And what went so wrong to bring it all crashing down? You're watching Empire Visionaries. Chapter 1. A small loan of $1,000. Before we begin, please make sure to like the video and hit the subscribe button. It helps the channel out a ton. Thanks.
Subway's famous giant foot-long sandwiches are made right before your eyes.
People call them hoagies or heroes or submarines because they're shaped like submarines, but we call them Subway sandwiches.
The year is 1965. Brooklyn-born Fred DeLuca, the son of Italian-American immigrants, is broke. Young Fred had always struggled with money and had spent most of his short life trying to rack up cash. Growing up, he'd scoured the streets of the Bronx in search of 2-cent bottles to return. He even took a newspaper route to earn some more money for his family on the side. By his 17th birthday, Fred worked a minimum wage job in a hardware store, earning no more than $1.25 an hour. All of this hard work wasn't for nothing. Fred had a dream in his heart. He wanted to go through college and become a doctor, a profession that would make his parents proud. Like all things in America, a college degree comes with a hefty price tag. Fred felt stuck. It was only when his family went round to an old family friend, Peter Buck, for a barbecue that a window of opportunity opened for him. Pete was a nuclear physicist and had made quite a name for himself. Fred saw his big house and figured he could lend him some money to pay for his medical degree, but Pete had other ideas. He agreed to lend Fred $1,000. But not for college. Instead, Pete told him to open up a submarine sandwich shop, despite knowing that the 17-year-old had no experience in the business whatsoever. Pete was confident his friend could turn a profit. Fred could then use the earnings to pay for his college tuition. Fred opened up a sub shop near the hardware store named Pete's Submarines. Unsurprisingly, the business didn't exactly take off. Part of the problem came from the low visibility from the poor choice of location. Not only that, when Fred ran a radio ad for the store, his thick Brooklyn accent made people think he was saying Pete Submarines. So they had no clue what he was talking about. Fred and Pete weren't the type to give up easily, however. They doubled down and opened a second store, hoping the presence of another shop would increase visibility. Despite their best efforts, the business still wasn't turning a profit. Some might have called them mad, but the two decided to triple down rather than admit defeat. They opened a third store and hoped for the best. The idea was to make it seem like they were enjoying tremendous success, so people would be drawn to the stores. But Fred made a crucial change to the business that would cement its legacy forever. He swapped out the wordy Pete's Super Submarines name for the sleek, easy, and now iconic Subway. The stars aligned. The third location, coupled with a clever rebranding, took the sub shop enterprise to a new level. The two founders saw the business grow and grow. By 1974, nearly 10 years since Fred first attended Pete's barbecue, 16 Subway shops had popped up across Connecticut. Still, this wasn't enough for Fred and Pete. They had their sights set higher than just a successful fast food restaurant chain. They wanted an empire. Chapter 2. Right to the top. Transforming a successful restaurant chain into a global brand powerhouse is no easy feat. Fred and Pete wanted to double the number of stores they had from 16 to 32. To accomplish this goal, they decided to franchise. This simple strategy would be what took Subway to new heights. At the time, each individual Subway store was fairly different. The look and feel of each store varied greatly. To solve this issue, Fred gave entrepreneurs the right to set up their own Subway stores and use their branding, so long as they provided the same menu and ingredients as the original 16 outlets. This way, Fred and Pete would reap the profits from the new stores, and eager entrepreneurs could dip their hands into the business world. It was a win-win scenario. The plan worked brilliantly. After adopting the new franchising strategy, Subway skyrocketed to the top. Stores started popping up all across America, in petrol stations and malls, as people bought into the craze. Subway franchises were cheap and easy to set up, making them far more attractive to entrepreneurs than their competitors like McDonald's or Burger King. Considering this sharp uptick came at a time when the United States was going through one of the worst periods of inflation ever, it's safe to say the two had found the golden ticket to success. In 1983, Subway had 200 stores operating across the country. Fred was making over $7 million every week in royalties from his franchises. He decided to push the needle even further. He wanted each store to bake their own bread at their location. This made Subway bread an iconic staple of the fast food chain and accelerated its growth even more. Only 4 years later, 1,810 Subway stores had been opened. Not everything was sunshine and roses. Fred was a very hands-on owner in more ways than one. He insisted on micromanaging most of the stores, despite handing over the reins to his franchisees. Running a fast food shop is hard enough, without your boss breathing down your neck every waking moment of your day. He pushed for constant expansion, often at the expense of the franchisee's personal income. Worse, Fred earned a reputation as a womanizer. He felt comfortable pursuing his underlings' wives and often made crude advances at corporate meetings. It was said that if it wore a skirt and had a pulse, Fred would chase it. Couple this with a toxic, overbearing work environment, and you can see how those who joined Subway weren't eager to stay on. Still, Subway was at the top of the fast food chain, dwarfing even McDonald's and Wendy's. The brand had become a global icon of fresh, tasty food. Nothing could topple it. Then came Jared. Chapter 3. How Jared Sank the Sub. By the 1990s, the entire world was riding the Subway wave. The store became known for its high-quality bread, extensive menu, and fresh ingredients. Well over 7,000 Subways now operated worldwide, serving hungry customers from Seoul to New York. One customer in particular, Jared Fogle, gained international stardom when he told his local newspaper that he'd lost over 240 pounds from eating Subway sandwiches. Fred saw the story and figured it would be another slam dunk win for his brand. The advertisements pretty much wrote themselves. Lose weight by eating Subway. Fred bought Jared a shiny new car and made him an unofficial spokesperson for Subway in 2000. At first, the decision seemed like a significant win. Jared became famous all across the world for his inspirational weight loss story. He featured in over 300 commercials for the chain, becoming the face of the restaurant for many years. Then it all came crashing down. In 2015, the FBI raided Jared's home and uncovered a ton of documents proving that he was heavily involved in the distribution of child abuse images and grooming. Jared pleaded guilty to perhaps the most heinous crime any individual could commit and was sentenced to over 15 years in prison. When news reached Fred's ears, he vehemently denied any knowledge of the spokesperson's crimes. He worked tirelessly to minimize any damage dealt to the Subway brand. His efforts were in vain. Subway would never be able to wash away its association with a now disgraced Jared Fogle, and the chain became a subject of ridicule. When it rains, it pours. As if the Jared fiasco wasn't enough, multiple reports started coming out about the quality of Subway's ingredients. Investigators found traces of materials used for yoga mats in the iconic bread, found that it contained 5 times more sugar than the average loaf, and the chicken they were using in their sandwiches was more soya than actual chicken. It was a PR disaster all around. To top it all off, Fred had been diagnosed with leukemia in 2013. He passed away in 2015, meaning Subway was forced to undergo a massive cultural shift without its captain at the helm. To say he'd achieved his dream of making his chain into a global giant would be the understatement of the century. Fred had gone from working minimum wage to being a billionaire with nothing more than a few slices of bread and some ingredients. With his passing and the storm of PR disasters striking the firm, Subway began to decline. Stores have steadily been shutting their doors every year since 2015, and many have reported meager profits. The meteoric rise is now followed by a slow, depressing fall from grace. With so many locations across the world, the company simply can't keep up with its once astronomical growth. Fred's story teaches us that business is fickle. Subway had seen success beyond anyone's wildest imagination and had managed to outpace some of the world's leading fast food giants. Yet it all came crumbling down thanks to one man's hubris and a few bad stories. Be careful who you trust, and always remember that your glory can be snatched away in the blink of an eye. What do you make of Subway's story? How would you go about rebuilding their lost empire? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button and subscribe to Empire Visionaries for more content like this in the future. Until next time.